Thanks for coming. Obviously, it's super shocking and heartbreaking week. Um, you know, for Becky and the boys, just praying for them. They're, Dan's family, and there's an army of people that want to help, and I think Becky knows that. It's been unbelievable, the support that we've gotten. The hockey world, the Michigan State community. It's actually amazing, and I think when you look at Dan, he was so well respected, and I think that the outpouring from coaches on campus, our president, AD Jen, other teams, wanting to help, and I think that's the hardest part for all of us, right? Is when you're in this business, that's kind of what you sign up for, to try to help, right? And I think that's the hardest part right now, at least for me, is you feel like you can't do anything. And I know our alums are grieving. Everyone loved him. Unbelievable team guy. He was essentially the glue of our team. He definitely made me look like a better coach than I am. I got to know we played together. He came in, I think, my senior year, and just a great attitude, great teammate, and then stayed in contact or whatever. He wanted to get into coaching, and I was a video coach in Detroit at the time, so he wanted to pick my brain about how to do things, and he was always inquisitive and always trying to get better. And he loved Michigan State. He is what Michigan State's all about, a team guy. We would always tease him, if when the Powerball was up, if you win the Powerball, what are you going to do? And he said he was just going to keep his job here and donate it all back to the program. And we would laugh, but that's the truth. He loved everything about Michigan State. And, now we talked as a group, right? One thing Dan for sure would want us to do is practice and want us to play. He loved watching guys work hard. He's so proud of every guy on the team. Some of the guys that maybe aren't in the lineup as much, his ability to connect with them, and how important that is to our program, and lift up those guys when they're struggling. And so we talked as a group, right? And it's not, I've never really thought of like the, win for someone, or it's more to honor, right? And he definitely believed in. He would say to me before every game, he's like, "Coach, I want to see 60 minutes of KBH, knees bend hockey," and that's what he loved: team play and hard work. And I told our guys that we're going to win some, we're going to lose some, but for sure we are going to honor him and play, how he dreamed of us playing. And the guys are doing all right. It's everyone handles things different, right? And there's no right way. There is no book for this. It's one day at a time. And Dan's dad stopped by the rink, and his brother AJ, and our wives are all close. So they've been over, hanging out with Becky and trying to help wherever we can. And but to the people that have reached out, thank you. And I've tried to do my best to get back to everyone, and there's probably still some I got to get back to, but it does mean a lot. And I think it's a competitive business, right? And it really puts things in perspective. And I think you get frustrated if you lose a game or something happens in a game, and it's really, sports really aren't that important. And I think we can all get lost in that, right? And it's a reminder of how every day's a gift. Every day is 100%. Life is precious. It's a gift, and But our team's definitely gonna honor Dan with our attitude, with the way we act as a team, playing as a team, our effort, our attitude. Not only even in the classroom, right? Like you look at how good of a student Dan was. He was actually one of the guys that started that Shoot for a Cure. When you think about that back to when he played here, how many lives he touched. So even that area, right? We got to make sure when we're doing those things, this is to help others, but honor Dan and how Dan wanted to be done. And so a huge hole, irreplaceable. But I feel fortunate to have been around him. Made me a better coach, better dad. He made me a better husband, and we just got to keep trucking, and take it one day at a time.
Adam, I appreciate how tough this is for you. You're a process-oriented coach that's always looking to move on. You can't prepare for this. How do you move on from this, and how do you work 30 young men through this moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's when I talked earlier, right? I think that's the hardest part for all of us, right? It's like you try to be prepared for any situation, right? And this is one I don't know how you'd ever be prepared for it. And I've got a lot of texts, that's people saying you're perfect for this and that. But I think it's what we talked about as a group, right? This is, it's not about the scoreboard, and it never will be as long as they let me coach here. It isn't. It's about playing the right way, being a great teammate. If you play 3 minutes, those need to be the best 3 minutes you play, and if you play 23 minutes, those need to be the best 23 for the team, not for yourself. Not and that's. No one was more of a team guy or glue guy than Dan, right? And I think that's what our message to our group was, right? Is we got to do what he would want us to do, and that's going to help us all heal, And I think that's it takes time, and everyone, it's not going to be. No one has the perfect thing to say, But I do think that I do think our guys 100% knew how he wanted us to play. They 100% respected how he wanted us to play, and we're going to play that way.
I think you described him as a glue guy a couple times. I'm wondering what makes him that. What made him that for you?
Well, just with our staff, right? I mean, with our staff, we're all kind of the same age, right? And so, yes, we work hard, but I mean, we have a ton of fun at the rink, right? And so, he loved competing. I mean, competition on anything, where we could set up a coffee cup and try to throw paper clips and closest to wins or whatever. And he'd want to challenge guys in everything, right? Chess, he had a chess board up, and we all played against him. We couldn't beat him, but we would all play against him. So he'd move it, and someone would sneak into his office and move a piece. He didn't know which one of us was. So he couldn't say he beat me or Townsend or D-Mike or Fasty. I mean, I'd be quarterback, and him and Townsend would be wide receivers, right? And it turned into a little bit of a bloodbath, guys going at it. But so I think that whole side, right? You spend so much time together, and I just think for our guys, right? Having done that job, it's a thankless job. But I think when you got the right group of guys and the right group of people, they really respect how hard of a job it is, and how demanding and how many hours he puts in to not be on the headlines, And I think that's where I said before, like I 100%, he has made me look like a way better coach than I really am. Our guys just loved him. Like even, after practice, he would always stay out with some guys and do some, him and Griffin Direct, he would do, some puck protection stuff at the end of practice, right? But that wasn't something that was getting any credit of anything. And Griff's been in on a line, he's been an unbelievable teammate, but I just think that whole side of it, like keeping the whole thing together, and he was one-on-one, man. There's no doubt about it, and we're fortunate to have had him in our lives, you know, and but he definitely was the glue to the whole thing.
When you put him in that role, when you got here, and you obviously knew what that role entails, well, did you know that about him at the time? And obviously, you played with him briefly. I think, you know, he's a few years younger.
Yeah.
Like, how well did you know him when you got here and the decision to put him in that role?
Well, yeah, I mean, he, you know, obviously teammates together, right? So, but it was half the season. So I mean, but we knew, and then AJ, when I worked here before, was here, and so got to know AJ, and then when Dan got into coaching, like I talked about before, you know, I was a video coach in Detroit, and he was trying to learn. There's a lot of like on the tech side of figuring out how to run a system, and you know, so I mean, I knew him, I knew him really well, you know, and I think what I loved is, you know, he would say to me, and I think this is, you know, he wanted to be the best video coach in the country, right? That was his goal, and he was. You know, sometimes you get into this business and it's always about the next job or next opportunity, and he was just passionate about, I'm going to be great at my job, you know, and I think our guys recognize that, right? That he wasn't trying to make it about himself or anything, and but when I got here, I mean, it was about a month where I hadn't hired anyone, right? So it was just him and I. You know, I look back at, you know, hiring Townsy and D-Mike, you know, they weren't alums. The moment they stepped on campus, he made them feel like alums. And I think that doesn't always happen, right? You have buddies and people that want jobs, and I get it, it's competitive, but like when I step back and look at how he treated those guys, how Becky, you know, treated the wives, of making them feel a part of Michigan State. I mean, it's not everyone does that, you know, and so yeah, I mean, I fortunate we missed him. He can't be replaced. I mean, that's just the reality of it, and but he made all of us better, you know, and I think that's for us. Feel fortunate.
Walk through those office doors. I believe is the first office on the right. That's got to be a painful walk every day for you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's no. I mean, you spend so much time together, right? It's like, but I think it goes back to what I talked about, right? Is we got to just make sure, and obviously I'm emotional, but the best way we can, you know, we got to support Becky and the boys, whatever they need, they're taken care of. You know, financially, emotionally. You know, boys need to ride to hockey, baseball, whatever, you know. I mean, that'd be the other thing with Dan, right? You know, there's the hockey piece, there's the Michigan State piece, there's the community piece, right? He coached baseball, youth baseball, coached youth hockey, the impact he had on people. But I think that is, you know, when you walk by, is remember who he was, right? And remember what he stood for. And we got to make sure we do that every day. And if we do that every day, we'll feel really good about being at the rink.
I understand you're going to wear patches.
Yeah.
Jerseys the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They got Team McGee did a great job of getting patches made, and so we'll have patches. I think Minnesota, they've been awesome. They're gonna wear stickers, you know, with his initials on it, and I think all that stuff's awesome. Like, and I think it goes back to play for the team. I mean, it's super simple concepts, but I think it's like the hardest thing to do in sports, right? Play for the team. It's not about you. And make sure when that end of the game comes, you got nothing left in the tank.
Adam, you're obviously emotional with us about this. It's been a raw few days. How are you expressing that emotion with the guys, and how are you kind of coaching them in that aspect also?
Yeah, you know, I think I've had moments for sure where I was emotional, you know. I told the guys there's no, it's okay if you're emotional, right? And if you're not, that doesn't mean you don't care, right? Doesn't mean if someone's emotional they care more. It's just everyone handles things different, right? And so, so we, you know, when we talked to the team initially, it was, you know, tough and I think shocking, right, for the guys, and but I think when we get out on the ice for practices is the best part of the day, right? You can get out there and get moving and doing what we're all passionate about, and just taking it one day at a time. And we're fortunate our university's supported really well, right? We have, if our guys need to talk to anyone, there's people that are right here in Lund that can and talk to the guys, and so we got a great support system. I think of even just the guys on our team's families, right? We got really good families and people that they can talk to if it's bothering them, and so yeah, I mean, you just take it one day at a time. Like I said, there's no playbook for it, and so.
Coach, I think when grief comes through, something that you always remember are those sepia tone memories, right? The
Yeah.
good ones. What did you guys laugh about?
Laugh? Oh, you say laugh?
What did you guys laugh about?
Oh yeah. Well, last night actually, I had the staff over and we cried, laughed, but I mean, he was such a character. He was like a big kid, we were laughing. We have a piece of property where there's a pond on it. And it's pretty good fishing. He loved to fish, go out there with me and fish. And one time he called me, and I don't know where I was out gone recruiting or something, and he wanted to go fish. I'm like, yeah, you go out there anytime. I gave him the gate code, and so he pulled into the property, and I think Becky was like trying to get a hold of him. He was supposed to be at a birthday party or something was going on, and he was so zoned in on, and he was notorious for leaving his phone where you couldn't get a hold of him. So then he's in there for like 6-7 hours, right? And he doesn't even realize that he's there that long. But then he finally calls me because I'm trying to get a hold of him, and then he calls me. He's like, I'm locked in to the property. I'm like, you're locked in? I'm like, how did you get into the property? He's like, well, the gate was open. I forgot the code. So he's out of the properties. And then him and I would, he liked to take a sauna, right? So we would go out to our property and sauna and jump in and do whatever rounds, and we'd be floating out, and he'd be asking me all these questions. I almost felt like his dad at times with some of the stuff because he's so innocent, he was just, but we had a ton of, we were at a ton of laughs, and a couple of alums came up, I think a whole bunch of the guys are coming up, and I think that helps, right? Those last night for me helped a lot, just having a group of guys together to remember, because there was so many good memories.
And then there's no playbook, right, for something like this. How do you best take that next step forward to honoring his legacy this season?
Well, I think it can be about results, because I think that especially in our sport, right, you can play really good and not get rewarded. And not that we don't want to win every game, but that is a fact. So I think it goes back to what he said. He wants, all he wanted was knees bend hockey, and I know it's not a fancy term or whatever. It's a mindset, and it's evident when guys are doing it. I think that is the best way. Not just in the games and practice, and honor them in the classroom, right? Doing things with integrity in the community, like he was involved. All those things I think is the best way. Dan looking down would be super proud.
Obviously, everyone's grieving in their own way, but what have you seen from your players as far as keeping this group together? Because you got a game to play on Friday and Saturday. Who have been kind of the guys who have been stepping up and helping people along in this process?
Well, we got a great leadership group, right? Like Bazzi, and I think for the guys probably that have been around Sturges longer, right? It's just human nature, right? And but Bazzi's a rock, and so and Shouts is, and Danny Russell and Charlie Stram, all those guys, Trey. Those guys are unbelievable, right? But it's okay if you're emotional. That's okay, right? It doesn't mean you're not a man. And so it might hit people at different times, right? It might be a week or whatever. And this is we just got to take it one day at a time. But I'm confident in our guys of, one, they have the support they need, from our staff, from all the staff on campus, from their parents, I'm really confident in that side of it. And then I think our guys all know how Dan wanted us to play and look like a team, right? Like it's not about the scoreboard. Doesn't mean we don't want to win. I get it. That's what we're judged on, but we really, the team and effort stuff is what meant the most to them.
You have 2 boys, right?
Yeah,
Age, you know.
I think 9 and 7. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a GoFundMe stuff, and I think we can put some stuff out, Austin, and make sure, the family's supported, and the amount of people that have reached out, that want to help, and I think that's, for all of us, right, there's this initial, and then it's, 6 months and a year and 5 years, right, making sure we all do our part, just like Dan would, right? I mean, Dan would have been doing the same thing as all of his buddies and alums and are doing.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you. Yep, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.